people say, I want more abundance, they're often in the back of their mind thinking, I want more money. And that I want more money is generally motivated because they are running away from a story or sort of like, chasing after a belief that, if I had more money, it would somehow solve my problems. Let's talk about redefining the word abundance, because that was really the topic that I put out here today. And I wanted to start with that because I wanted us to really level set and get a clear definition around what it is that we're talking about. Abundance isn't just about money, it's really a mindset. And I believe that we can all come into a place of prosperity consciousness and an abundant mindset. And when we do that, it will absolutely impact and elevate the levels of money that we earn. But they are different. Abundance isn't just about money. It's really a mindset, right? And so the way I look at it is that it's a choice. When you really tap into that word, what are the emotions? What are the other ways that you would describe it and how it comes up for you? Because I would love to have you have that perspective too. I think of it as a choice, right? It's something that we can really choose to tap into, to believe in, to allow ourselves to experience, right? We can hold an abundance mindset and perspective, because really where you put your attention and where you put your focus, right? It's a choice, right? It's a choice to either focus on where you have more than enough in your life, or what it is that's not there, what's not present, what's lacking, what feels scarce, right? What it is that you're kind of hoping and pining for. And it's easy to get stuck there, right? It's really, really easy because we are living in our realities, right? We're living with, what's around us and the experiences that we're having. And so we're going to get more into that as we start this conversation. But first, I want to talk about this, about abundance and really redefining it, because people often confuse abundance with meaning more money. And it absolutely can mean that, but oftentimes I want to distinguish this, because I think it's really important when people say I want more abundance, they're often in the back of their mind thinking I want more money. And that I want more money is generally motivated because they are running away from a story or sort of like, chasing after a belief that, if I had more money, it would somehow solve my problems. And so I want you to just notice that for yourself, right? Either, live or on the replay, really notice for yourself how prevalent that belief set is for you. Is there any edge of money would make me happier? It would make me less stressed. I would have to work less, all of those things. Because that again is that attachment to, without realizing it, what you're doing is you're giving so much power over to money in that, right? And so much power that money ends up having power over you. If we are in this place, of believing that sort of, that having more abundance only means more money, and we're letting that energy of money, which is very powerful, have power over us. We're trapping ourselves in the lack, right? We're not standing in the abundance. So I am, privileged to do this work with so many women to really tap into how to harness the power of that energy of money, because money is a very powerful energy. And when we learn how to harness that power, then we can truly stand in a place of abundance. So here's the deal. When you make it only about money, what you're doing is you're getting focused, or even better words would be like fixated or attached, right, to the money versus the truth, which was in the definition that even was just shared with us. Abundance is limitless, right? And money is just a tool. It's just a tool on the path of abundance, right? It's not the answer or the solution to any kind of problem, right? It's just a tool that helps you solve problems. It helps you buy the things you want to buy. It helps you, make a bigger impact, right? It helps you enjoy your life, right? If that's what you choose to do. But it's not the destination, right? It's not the end result. And I think that's a really, really key distinction, and why I wanted to have this conversation around redefining abundance. Because instead of saying, if I had more money, then I would, feel better, all those things, be happier, etc., right? What we do is then we can get into this place of really acknowledging where we are in abundance now and how we can capture those feelings and emotions now. Over 20 years ago, when I, first started my journey around healing my own relationship with money, and really became into the epiphany that it wasn't, at first when I started the work, it was really that, I wanted to move past broke. Like I didn't want to feel like I never had any money. And, but I quickly realized that it wasn't just about the money. It was about allowing all of the rich goodness to flow inside of my life. And one of the ways that I did that was I decided that I would, I knew I wanted to make more money, but that instead of focusing on actually a certain dollar amount or, I had to make this specific salary, I decided that I was really just going to focus on getting really clear about the impact that I wanted to make and what was the kind of work that I wanted to do and how could I be of service, right? And how could all of that really be an enriching experience that would fill me up? And so I started doing a process where I was using a tool called scripting, which is a tool that Abraham Hicks teaches, and I teach it as well, based on what I've learned from them. And essentially what it is it's just a journaling exercise where you start to get really detailed about what it is that you want to create. And it's almost like guided visualization where you're taking your mind and your imagination into that, into that visual or that fantasy of, what it will feel like and be like when you're there. But instead of visualizing it, you're actually writing it down. And so you're writing down the specifics. And so I started writing down really specific things like, how do I want my work environment to be? That I wanted really high ceilings. I wanted lots of natural light in the area that I worked. I wanted to work with, a team of people that were super engaged. And, I started talking about the kind of work that I was doing and how I was, facilitating and showing up as a leader and guiding a team and, the impact that we were having on the organization, all of those kinds of things. And so I got really, really detailed about it. Like super specific, like there were skylights in the place that I worked and there was like healthy food available and it was a close distance to where I lived, all this kind of stuff. I had no idea what it was that I was creating, but I just got really clear about what did it feel like and how did I feel in that moment and what was the impact. And I am not kidding you guys, but literally like a week or two later after doing this exercise, I got a phone call from somebody that had heard me speak inside of a very large organization. And probably a month before that, I had gone and delivered a talk to like a professional development talk to a bunch, like a big audience of people that were invited. It was just a professional development talk. You could come at noon and, we're in a big auditorium and there were probably a couple hundred people there. There was one gentleman who I had connected with who was at that talk and had heard me speak. And I was talking about some of the same topics and concepts I'm teaching today, right? And sharing about, how you can really create your dreams and possibilities and things like that. And so he clearly was engaged with that. He followed up with me and said, hey, Alexandra, there's a job that's opening here, a position that I actually think you might be a really great fit for. Would you be interested in coming to interview? And, I wasn't necessarily like looking for a job, right? I hadn't put it out to the universe that I was like, wanted a position at this specific company. All I had done was start the process of, rather than focusing on how much money I needed, I was focusing on the bigger vision, what it was that I wanted to create, how I could be of service, what I could give back. That's really the energy of abundance, right? Because it's not about like how it's going to manifest or that the money is the end result. It's really about, what's the feeling and the emotion that you're wanting to have. Because I knew that stepping into that vision, stepping onto that path was going to create a lot of joy. It was going to create a lot of happiness. It was going to create fulfillment, right? And it was going to allow me to really, to also be of service and be a contributor. Long story short, I ended up going to that office building. There were probably the ceilings were gigantic. There were skylights all over the place. They had the most phenomenal cafeteria with incredible healthy food. There, it was like a young, vibrant office with, wonderful people and a really exciting, company and an exciting time to be with them. And, as I stood around, it was literally like everything that I had written inside of my journal had just unfolded before me. And I was literally standing in the building where what I had, scripted was the reality. And it was in that moment that I truly realized, this stream of abundance, right? It's not about directing, exactly how you're going to make the money, but it's really about focusing on that journey, right? That emotional piece of it. The truth is that money is never going to make you happy, right? That's an inside job. Money is just an amplifier, and it's only going to make you more of what you already are, or feel, more of what you already feel. And so, that said, I do believe that if you're happier, you actually probably will make more money. But this conversation that we're having today is really about abundance, because I want to get into, helping you really define, what does having more than enough mean for you? Getting back to that original definition around abundance, right? That we're tapping into the flow, that we're in this place of limitless energy, that we're really focused on where we already have more than enough, where we really are in a place of appreciation and gratitude for what's in our life, right? And just standing in those emotions and those feelings. You guys, inside of that story that I shared, I was cultivating those emotions. I was living inside of those emotions as I was writing it, as I was scripting it, as I was visualizing it in my mind, as I was imagining myself in those places. I was standing in the emotions of that, right? Of that experience, and really relishing the abundance of that experience. So it was super exciting to me, right? I was inside the possibility of that. So this conversation is about, how do you get to that place? How do you define it for yourself? We live inside of the feelings, right? We're always chasing the feeling, right? We're chasing the, we're looking for the emotion, right? That's what we're always going for, right? Because it's never just about getting to the place. It's how do we want to feel on the way there? What's the growth that's going to happen on the way there? What's the abundance that we can experience? How can we really be present in our current circumstances and really just praise it, celebrate it, live in it, be in it, give thanks for it, right? That's the abundance piece. Abundance is a flow, right? And we can almost think of it like a stream of energy is often how I think about it, but you could even take that into the more tangible, it's a stream that's flowing to you, right? And it's just filled with water. It's coming from the mountains, and it's just coming downstream and flowing, right? It's this vector, this force of energy that's just flowing to you. And so, if you were to go to the stream and take a cup full, there's no need to worry, because there's always more that's flowing, right? There's always more that's coming. And this is truly, that is also an abundance perspective. That's a choice to believe that more will always come, right? Because maybe you take a sip of that, or maybe you give it to somebody else to sip, right, from your cup. And it's not like there's not going to be any more left, right? We don't have to worry about that. We can always go back to the stream and dip back in and get more out of the well. So I think that's a really beautiful visual to hold as you're thinking about abundance. I love to think of it as just a stream of energy that like we can tap into and rely upon, and that it's always there, it's always present. It's just a matter of us tuning into it and connecting to it. But if you like the visual of the river or the creek or the stream, then like use that, right? Just imagine always flowing, like it's never going to run out. You can always, come back to that stream, and there it will always provide. Right? It's a flow.